So imagine this. You're forced to answer a riddle where speaking means you automatically fail, but staying silent means, well, a pretty gruesome death. Sounds impossible, right? This isn't just some brain teaser. It's the core of a classic, suspenseful legend from ancient India. It's part ghost story, part philosophical puzzle, and it's all about testing one king's incredible wisdom.
These are the words that kick off one of the strangest trials a hero has ever had to face. And get this, they're spoken not by a friend, not by a wise old guide, but by a corpse slung over our hero's shoulder. Yeah. And with that simple, kinda creepy offer, a very dangerous game begins.
Alright, so our hero is the legendary King Vikramaditya, a ruler known for being incredibly brave and having a rock-solid sense of justice. His story starts when this mysterious sorcerer shows up and starts giving him a weird gift, a single piece of fruit, every single day. For a long time, the king just accepts them, until one day he discovers that inside each and every fruit is a priceless ruby. Feeling like he owes this guy big time, he asks the sorcerer how he can possibly repay him, and the sorcerer's request is, well, it's not what you'd expect.
The request is as simple as it is terrifying. He has to go deep into the haunted cremation grounds at night, find a specific ancient tree, and bring back the corpse that's hanging from its branches. You know, a task that would make most of us run for the hills. But King Vikram is a man of his word, so he accepts the chilling mission.
Now, here's the catch. This isn't just any old corpse. Nope, it's possessed by a supernatural being called a Batal. And these spirits are famous for being ridiculously clever, super witty, and absolute masters of telling stories that are actually riddles in disguise. So Vikram isn't just fetching a body. He's about to deal with a cunning, supernatural force.
King Vikram, being the hero he is, doesn't even flinch. He marches into that dark forest, he finds the creepy, gnarled tree, cuts down the corpse, and starts the long, quiet walk back with it slung over his shoulder. Everything seems to be going just fine, until that dead silence is shattered in the most unbelievable way.
Can you imagine? In a truly shocking moment, the corpse on his back just lets out a laugh. The bestial has just revealed itself. But instead of threatening him, it makes an offer. It wants to tell him a story to make the long journey go by faster. An offer that sounds nice, except it comes with one very, very important string attached.
And there it is, the perfect trap. The king has to stay completely silent. For a ruler who is famous for his wisdom and his need to see justice done, being forced into silence is like a special kind of torture. If he says even one word, the mission is a failure, and he has to go all the way back to square one.
Vikram agrees to this rule of silence, and so the Batal begins its game. The story it tells is about a beautiful princess named Mandarvarti. She had 3 amazing suitors, all of them worthy. But just as she was about to choose one, she was struck down by a sudden illness and died, leaving all 3 men completely heartbroken.
Okay, this is where the riddle really starts to take shape, because each of these guys responded to her death in a totally different way. One of them, the mourner, was just so consumed by grief he never left her cremation site. He literally slept on her ashes. The second one, the pilgrim, undertook a holy journey, carrying her bones to the sacred Ganges River for purification. But the third guy, the seeker, he just flat out refused to accept her death and went on a quest to find a way to bring her back.
And you're not going to believe it, but he actually succeeds. After years of searching the world, the seeker comes back with a secret, powerful mantra for revival. He finds the mourner still there, guarding her ashes, and together they perform the ritual. And just like that, Princess Mandarvarti is brought back to life, more beautiful than ever. But this miracle? Well, it immediately creates an even bigger problem.
So the Batal finishes its story of love, loss, and this incredible revival. But this was never just about entertainment. Oh no, it was a carefully built trap for King Vikram. And now it shifts from being just a story to a direct, personal challenge.
Right. The moment the princess was alive again, all 3 men started fighting over her. Each one insisted that she now belonged to him. Each one was totally convinced that his sacrifice and his devotion were the greatest.
And that's when the Batal stops the story and asks King Vikram that question directly. So who does have the greatest right? The guy who stayed by her ashes? The one who took her bones to the holy river? Or the one who literally found the magic to bring her back from the dead? The Batal is waiting for an answer. But remember, for Vikram, speaking isn't an option. Or is it?
And here it is, the final, brilliant twist of the knife. The Batal adds a deadly curse. Vikram is now trapped in the most impossible choice imaginable. Speak, break his vow, and fail the entire mission. Or stay silent, knowing the right answer, and have his head literally explode.
Faced with this dilemma, Vikram's true nature just takes over. He's a king of justice first and foremost, and for him, leaving a moral question unanswered is actually worse than failing the mission. So he breaks his silence. He declares that the true husband is the one who stayed with her ashes, because his constant, unwavering presence showed the true devotion of a life partner.
And his logic is just brilliant. He breaks it down like this. The man who found the revival mantra acted like a teacher or a guru, giving the gift of new life. The one who took her bones to the sacred Ganges River, he performed the sacred duty of a son. But only the man who stayed by her side through death itself, sleeping on her ashes, showed the intimate, unwavering love and devotion of a husband. Of course, the second the words leave Vikram's mouth, he's broken the vow. With a triumphant cackle, the Batal shouts, "You spoke," and instantly flies back to the tree, taking the corpse with it. Vikram has failed, but here's the amazing part. He's not deterred. He just turns around, heads back into the forest, and gets ready to start all over again. This isn't the end, it's just the start of a very, very long cycle.
And this detail is what makes this legend so powerful. This wasn't a one-time thing. This whole ordeal, the spooky journey, the clever story, the impossible choice, and the spirit zipping back to the tree, it happened 24 times. Every single time, Vikram's own integrity, his own sense of justice, forced him to speak the truth, and every single time he had to start over, showing an almost superhuman level of patience and perseverance.
So, what was the point of all this? Well, it was never really about fetching a corpse. You see, Vikram's so-called failures were actually the test itself. By answering correctly every time, he proved his wisdom. By going back again and again, he proved his incredible patience. And all of this is what finally convinced the Batal that he was worthy. So worthy, in fact, that the spirit revealed the sorcerer's true, evil plan, to sacrifice the king and gain immense dark power. Vikram hadn't been failing at all. He'd been winning the Batal's respect.
In the end, King Vikram was trapped between keeping a promise and speaking a necessary truth. He chose truth, every time. And his story really makes you think, doesn't it? It forces us to ask ourselves, what promises or rules or maybe even fears in our own lives are keeping us silent when we know we should speak? And when is the bravest thing we can possibly do not to hold our tongue, but to speak up, no matter what the consequences might be?